Hello, everyone. Welcome to Proceed with Passion live with your host, myself, Terry Schilling, copywriter and copy coach, and also creative human being who likes to bring on fellow creative human beings to hear about their journey. What lessons did they learn and steps did they take to get to where they are today, to doing work that they're passionate about, and help share actionable tips that help you do the same. And so today I'm very happy to bring on, an online friend of mine. We've connected through Twitter mostly, been able to even connect more through the pandemic that we're going through right now. But again, I'm really happy to have the founder and creator of the popular Freelance Chat on Twitter, and also the owner of Garrett Public Relations. Please welcome Michelle Garrett to the show. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Terry. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a pleasure to have you on. We were talking a little bit before we jumped on just how finally nice it is to connect this way. Yeah. You were generous. You had me kind of co-host with you on Freelance Chat back a few months ago. I think maybe October, late September. But that was a really good time. And what you're doing in the freelance community is obviously very much appreciated. A lot of good resources.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for having me today. And thank you for being on Freelance Chat. It seems like a million years ago because at the time it was like, yeah. I have no idea anymore how time moves, but
I know, right? It's like dog years, COVID years of just like, what does that feel like? It's like remembering back in March. It just seems wild, the time. Yeah. But to everybody who's tuning in, you're new to the show, welcome. If you guys have been loyal followers and have tuned in before, welcome back. We are live in the Facebook Copy Co-op group, my YouTube channel, Terry Schilling Creative, and on my LinkedIn page. So hello to everybody, and hello to all the replay watchers as you get ready to dive in here. Having Michelle on here to really talk a lot about the freelance journey and some tips, but also with every Proceed with Passion, we like to kind of hear how they started. What's really that origin story? And I kind of always like to start, though, too, to keep it positive, considering how much of a mess 2020 has been so far, Michelle. So what is the coolest thing? First question, what is the coolest thing that has happened to you in 2020?
Well, first of all, we know so many people are struggling, and, our heart goes out to every one of those people. And I mean, freelancers, are among those. I mean, we see a lot of people turning to freelance because they've lost their job. And then a lot of freelancers who were already freelancing are struggling, of course. So I just want to say, first of all, we feel for you, and we're trying to support you. But for me, I mean, I really think one of the best things about this year for me has just been being able to really see the fruits of a lot of work over the years, because I've worked through a recession before as a freelancer, and I know that it can be very challenging. And I think last time, it was a lot more challenging for my business. And this time I feel like, I've laid a lot of groundwork and I'm much better positioned now. I feel like it certainly does affect me in a lot of ways, but I feel like clients are kind of getting the idea that, we do need a digital presence, and we know there are people there to help us. And, it's hopefully, sometimes I come to mind on that front. And so I've been able to help. I think I've been able to help clients with that. So,
no, I mean, it's really good to reflect on, that type of impact. And you really do have that type of impact, especially with a lot of freelancers. We got Liz Johnson leaving a comment here. Freelance Chat is great. I love reading through everyone's answers and learning new things, which is awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. And Michelle, I want to get into then, we're going to talk a lot about freelancing. And I know you run your own PR, but did you always want to get into PR? Like after college, what was it that Michelle Garrett ultimately was looking to do?
Well, I mean, writing was always my first love. So my degree is in journalism. My other major was political science. I don't know if everyone knows that. If you follow me on Twitter, you might see some of that coming out.
Yeah, you get a little bit of that. Yeah, absolutely.
I try not to go too far, but I feel like this year's been a little bit like we get it past maybe a little bit.
It's hard to bite your tongue for sure.
So I think I thought I would probably go into political campaigns at some point, but I realized what the sacrifice would be if I did that. And so the work-life balance for me became more important, and I never really pursued that. But I mean, PR is something that I don't know that I always wanted to do PR, but when I was in journalism school, it was one of the areas that you could focus on. And so I wrote for the newspaper, as a reporter in college. And so I feel like PR kind of blends a lot of the things that I like to do into one area. And then, of course, content, social has all kind of come along even after,
Yeah.
after I started working as a professional, marketer, I guess. So
Yeah.
it just all works together for
Yeah.
me.
What was one of the, toughest projects, but like also one of the biggest lessons learned in your early days working in PR?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of people have this idea that it's glamorous, like it's Samantha on Sex and the City, like every
Yeah.
day they're going to parties and, like
Yeah.
that's really not the truth of what it is. I mean, for
Yeah.
me, I've always worked with tech companies, manufacturing companies, B2B. So,
Mm.
um, it's not really glamorous, but I mean, it can be fun. And I think the
Yeah.
fun comes in when you're just looking for the story that the client might not see. So
Yeah.
I think manufacturers, for example, have a lot of really cool kind of behind the scenes stories that nobody really knows about, nobody tells or thinks about. And that to me is really interesting. So
Yeah. PR doesn't always have to be some formal, boring story, right? There can be some human elements to it that
yeah.
really gets to draw people in,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So that's really cool that you get to do that. Did you always, or when did like the kind of freelancing side, the freelance writing start with that? Was it always kind of a side hustle?
Well, I mean, I feel like with the journalism background and the love of writing, I mean, if I could write all day, I mean, I
Yeah.
probably would, let's be honest.
Right.
Um, not to say that I think the PR is, part of, my professional, that's always going to be part of my professional life. And I
Yeah.
feel like I've kind of made a name for myself now. Of course, even my Twitter handle is PR is us. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm kind of there now.
Right.
But I mean, the writing is always, to me, writing is a foundational skill. So it
Mm.
applies to many, many jobs and PR pros. I mean, I give talks often to college classes who it's all about writing. Like that's the focus of the talk is the strength of your writing skills, because I
Yeah.
feel like, yes, they need to know multimedia, they need to know analytics, they need to know a lot of different things. But without the writing kind of at the base, at the foundation of it, it's really hard to present yourself well and present your ideas. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I totally understand. I'm curious too. I feel like whenever we jump into doing business for ourselves, being a full-time freelancer, or even just starting it as a side hustle, there's always this moment, right? That just realize like, I want to do this and see where this can take me. What moment is, in 4K high definition in your mind where it's like, I'm going to start my own public relations firm, and I'm going to achieve this. Like, was it something that really pushed you to do that? A drastic moment? What was it?
I always wanted to work for myself. My parents both worked for themselves. And
Oh,
so
that's,
I
yeah.
grew up in a house where nobody went to work for someone else. No one went to an
Wow.
office to work for somebody. So I think in
Yeah.
my brain, in my background, it was just this kind of in my blood almost. Like I just, I always wanted to do that. Now, I wanted to make the timing right. And so when I moved out to Silicon Valley, and I
Mm.
knew and saw many freelancers in action out there and got to know a lot of them. And I think that did help me feel more confident that I could be ready to do it while I was there. I think it was much easier to start there. Now I'm back in the Midwest. I don't think it was as common. It may be more common now, but I still
Yeah.
feel like out there was just this entrepreneurial, oh, I can't say that word, spirit that
Yeah. Yeah.
that really helped. I feel like that helped me.
Yeah. No, that's great. I feel like anybody watching and tuning in, welcome if you're jumping in here too. I have Michelle Garrett with me. We just got talking about how she got into her own PR firm and, what led her to getting into PR. But really, Michelle, a lot of people, watching and sharing know you from Freelance Chat and being part of that freelance community. So what was it that sparked you to start it?
Well, again, when I started my business out in Silicon Valley, it was a very vibrant freelancer community.
Okay.
And we were very supportive of each other. And that meant, I mean, a lot of it was in person, but I mean, we also, were connected online. And I've always missed that being back here in the
Mm.
Midwest. And so
Yeah.
I started a meetup group first, and that went for a year, year and a half. and it just never really took off the way I wanted. We had a pretty steady, maybe,
Yeah.
group of people that would meet, but it kind of started to trail off a little bit. And so then I thought, I've been to so many Twitter chats, and I started asking around. I said, just some folks that I knew on Twitter. I said, if I started a freelance chat, would you come? Like, and so I made sure I had like a small group of people that would commit to coming, and
Yeah.
then they helped me come up with a name, and then we just started out. So it's over 2 years old now. So I
Over
think it's
2 years.
pretty
Wow.
well. Yeah.
Yeah. I was on it probably about 3 years ago, just kind of slowly discovering Twitter chats and realizing, really what they were and like how the process worked. I just found it super interesting. It really helped me just meet a ton of people as I was starting my side,
Yeah.
freelance writing journey. There was different marketing chats that you could join and just a
Mhm.
bunch of people sharing resources, which was really cool. It just feels like, we talked about how time flying by. It seems like it's been much longer than that freelance chat, to be honest, because it's just been such a good source. It just seems like it's always been constant there.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
We like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
No, it's
And
getting more popular. I think the word gets out, people tell a friend or and there are probably just more people freelancing.
I
So
know, especially now, and people even just kind of the side thing of like, what tools do I need? What are these resources that can help me? How do I get clients? Obviously,
mhm.
a lot of people have that entrepreneurial spirit, I think, deep down inside. It's something that
Yeah.
it kind of grew for me and just figuring out how I can do this on my own. And Twitter chats, like we mentioned, was a big source for that.
Yeah.
And, Michelle, what do you think is the most popular topic that you get with the freelance chat?
Well, I mean, finding work, is always popular, right? And getting paid.
Mhm. Yeah,
You'd be
the
surprised at how
money,
many people,
yeah.
like, struggle to get paid. Or
Yeah,
maybe not. Maybe you wouldn't be surprised, but
yeah,
I'm always surprised. I mean,
yeah.
it shouldn't be that big of a deal, right? Like, you do the work, you should get paid, or get paid before you do the work, maybe is the better way to do it, so
That is probably the better way to do it. I think a lot of people they get scared because maybe like one or two bad clients, because there are some people out there who will say all the right things, take your work, and then be super difficult
yeah,
to pay you, even if it's been like, even though they know it's like there's maybe a contract involved, there's a verbal agreement, and they just kind of slowly start shying away. It's just kind of shady business sometimes, unfortunately.
it is, and we have to make sure we hold them, accountable, but it's hard too, as a freelancer, to do that, so we
Mhm.
do talk about that a lot.
Yeah, I know the topic that we had when I was hosting was a lot about, charging your services, right? Of just like, how do we set that? Do we set hourly rates? Do we set fixed rates?
Yeah.
What's your best piece of advice for when charging your services?
Yikes. Well, don't go by hours, I think. Don't do
Mm,
hourly if you can help it. I think that it's hard to move away, and I think even when you're putting together a proposal, it's okay maybe to think, like, account for the hours that you're gonna need to cover, that you think it's gonna take, and then, maybe work from there, but, I mean, go with projects, go with retainers. I mean, depending on the work you do, it can be hard to do that. I know with PR, sometimes it is hard to figure out exactly what they're gonna need, because sometimes you just don't know till you get into it a little bit. I know it's like that with
yeah,
other things too. So then there's just sometimes I'll just say, "Well, the quote includes this, and then if we find out that it is wildly over or under one way, we're gonna then bill hours at this rate.
right.
We will talk, I will let you know that this is happening, or we can, I won't just the worst thing you can do is surprise clients with a bill that they weren't expecting, because
Yeah,
that doesn't go over so well, so
no, exactly. You may think they'll be okay with it, but they'll be asking questions.
no,
That's
they don't like it.
yeah. Oh man, how do you know? I want to ask, like, well, what's your best advice for getting clients? But I'm just curious, kind of, where does the bulk of your work come from? Like, what have you tried to, get new work?
Well, I mean, to me, it's like a multifaceted approach, I guess. I mean,
Okay.
I don't really pay, I don't really advertise.
Hmm.
I mean, a lot of it in the beginning was referrals, so always talking to people, having a strong network. They talk to people even if they're never gonna hire you, just like other freelancers. It's like people poo-poo that sometimes, and I'm like, they can be a really great source of referrals, because not everybody, A, can take every piece of work that comes their way, and B, it's not always a fit, and it's really doing a service to the client, and to yourself to say no if it's not really a fit for you. I think that's something it's really hard for
Mhm.
us because we had come from this place. A lot of us have this, we're gonna take every job that we get, like that
Yeah.
comes our way.
Yeah.
So, and then also, I mean, social media, Twitter has been a big, big benefit to my business. I'm probably on there more than I should be sometimes.
We all are,
Yeah.
especially during this time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a water cooler, it's such a
Oh, definitely.
lifeline for me. I
Yeah.
mean, it keeps my morale up, honestly. I have people who say, "It's Twitter's so toxic," and I say, "Well, it just depends, because I mean, I don't
Yeah.
really see it that way. I guess I could make it that way if I wanted to, but I
That's
mean, my
true.
my
Yeah.
Twitterverse is not toxic. I mean, knock wood."
Yeah, it's really depending on who you follow. There's the people I follow for my news and for my sports, and then there's people like you in this community of like-minded like freelancers and marketers,
Yeah.
that you learn from and just engage with and just have you can have random, conversations with.
Yeah.
Twitter's definitely a really fun place. And
Yeah.
to anybody watching and listening to this, just get on Freelance Chat or just get on Twitter and start looking up the hashtag of your industry and
Yeah.
just seeing what other people are saying on there. I think that's really helpful too.
It is.
Yeah. And obviously, like with freelancing, is like word of mouth is really the best way. And I mean, and like I said, Twitter is just a good way to kind of be top of mind. Like I see posts randomly, Michelle, where it's like, who's good in PR? I think I just saw one yesterday,
Mhm.
and like, how many times do you get people like to tag you in it? Like, oh, thank you, and you're like, oh, thank you so much. It just,
It happened twice today.
yeah, see, there you go. Perfect.
I mean, that's the thing. And then I saw somebody saying, well, Twitter's a great place to find sources for, for her stories. She's a journalist, because people on there have opinions and they want to share their opinions. So it makes sense, and again, I have clients that kind of say, Twitter's not really for me. And I'm like, well, like there's really some good things happening over there. So
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. And I just want to touch in too to everybody watching right now. Please ask any questions that you may have. We'll put them up on the chat, and Michelle and I can answer them. So any questions you have for Michelle, please don't be shy
yeah.
to ask when it comes to freelancing. But I want to ask one because this one comes up a lot. Yeah, what is the biggest thing newbie freelancers forget about when trying to grow their business?
I think it's a challenge to focus on the idea that even though you're working and you might be busy today, in 3 months or whatever, you might not be busy, and you might wish that you had had that longer view of saying, "You know what? I really should have been out there kind of marketing my business even when I was busy," because it's just a constant thing, I think, for freelancers.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just too like, yeah, I mean, you bring up such a good point. It's always kind of just like that fear in the back of your mind where it's like, is this going to end soon? Like, I don't have anything in the pipeline right now, right? It's like, when this project ends, what am I going to do? And like I said, continue to market yourself. What are some examples that freelancers can do?
Well, I mean, one of the things that I have found most fruitful, I guess, is guest posts. So I have my own blog, and yes, I write original content for my blog. I also have a newsletter. I write original content only for my newsletter subscribers.
Nice.
But contributed posts. So I started that probably, I mean, I'm going to say 5 or so years ago. And again, I'm in this for the long haul. I made a freelance career choice a long time ago, and that's my path. But so, I mean, to me, I saw a point at which I'm going to try this. And at the time, it wasn't even really probably a big strategy. It was just like, I have opinions and I want to share, my thoughts, So I started blogging. My first post was on PR Daily. It was about the death of the press release, which people are still talking about today. It's
That's
not
a great headline. That's just a great headline to get people to click and read more about. I love it.
Yeah. So I just wrote it and I submitted it and they ran it. And I was like, wow, this wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. So
yeah,
I kind of took off from there, like, contributing to other PR blogs. Muckrack has been a great place for me to showcase my work and my thoughts. And, it's led to paid gigs. I mean, that's why I don't get paid always for my guest posts, which some people are going to say don't work for free. I understand.
yeah.
However, it's how I market my business, and I feel like it's definitely worth my time. So
yeah, I think there's just I love that approach. And like I've like talked about that with other copywriters. I've done free guest posts before.
mhm.
You know, I had Eddie Schlaner on, who does the popular Very Good Copy newsletter, and he just started doing a lot of guest posting for HubSpot. And, you know, when they clicked on his byline, it took them to Very Good Copy to sign up for his newsletter. Or he would even mention, it's like, you like this, sign up for this newsletter. And the more popular articles that he had, it just continued to grow for him. You know, he had that direction. And now, you know, he can find ways to monetize that list because it's very, I think he's over 10,000 people now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but like the guest posting, it's like if you do these popular publications, it's like people will read it, you know, people will look at your byline of who wrote this, and it's just a good way to bring business in.
Yeah.
You know, to even like to have people hire content writers, you know,
Yeah.
even if you're just talking about a topic. I think a lot of my work too just comes from creating content too. So it's like you can do guest posts, you can, you know, create videos and tips and do collaborations to just be consistent on social media too. It doesn't always have to be looking on LinkedIn for jobs in that job section, or going to Indeed and going on Upwork or cold messaging all the time.
Yeah, Upwork's an interesting one. I know
Yeah,
a lot of people love it, but I ran into somebody else yesterday who was like, "Yeah, I'm not really sure." Like, so I don't really use it. I mean, not to say I never used it, but I haven't used it in quite a while. So
yeah, it's always funny because I'm learning just a lot of more of just how many people shy away from it, because I've hosted 2 workshops on Upwork. And so I've done it and had, you know, a good small group of freelancers do it, and they're finding success. But, you know, they're also sharing a lot of just like, Terry, this person is not reaching back out to me. What do I do?
yeah,
And, you know, I try to tell them like, this is common. I think it's a lot of why people kind of give up on it is
yeah,
because it's like, some people are just like, can we go on Skype? And then it's like, here's the rate. It's like, you want $20 for 1,000 words? It's like, that's
yeah,
not going to work. I mean, it happens. And I just found ways to kind of weed through the crap and just
yeah,
find good projects on there. It's just been like, honestly, when I started, it was like 50% of my like marketing and business. And then it helped me kind of grow a profile on there. And, you know, people find my profile on Upwork, and then they look on my website and they email me through my website. So I think it's just being consistent and like having different channels. And, you know, I'm not opposed to Upwork, but I definitely get why people, you know, don't put the effort, especially if other things are working.
yeah. Well, I mean, that's a good point, because I think if it's one spoke of your efforts, you know, one channel, I think that's fine. I wouldn't put all of your eggs in that basket, I guess is what I would say to
Yeah.
people. So, and sometimes people get really offended when I mention anything. I had one person be very upset about when I mentioned
Yeah. No, I know.
things about Upwork, and I'm like, well, you know, it's fine. I mean, a lot of people love it. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah. You know, and I hear some people just like, oh, don't bother. It's just a freelance mill, and, you know, just continue to do this method. And, you know, again, I'm not saying, like you said, not all the eggs in that basket. It's just can be a successful part of your marketing efforts. Like when it's dry, maybe go on there and give it a shot and see what happens.
yeah.
But yeah.
As long as you're not spending all your efforts there, I think it's fine. I think it's good to keep a lot of different irons in the fire. Again, I probably sound too many cliches there, but yeah.
Yeah. What are some of your favorite tools that you use or that you hear recommend to other freelancers to run their business? Because a lot of times it's like, what do I need to get started to either be a freelance writer or to just in freelancer in general?
Yeah. Well, I think that there's a lot of talk about whether or not you need your own website, and we have talked about that on the chat too, because there is some, again, people can get very passionate one way or the other, yes or no. I feel like I had a website on day one of my freelance business, and that was quite a while ago, because I was where I was living in Silicon Valley. I felt like that was pretty important to have that there, and people did find me that way, even then. And of course, people find me now because I blog, and I think that really helps. I mean, the other
Yeah.
thing I was going to say is make sure that I have people review my business on Google, and that helps people find
Oh,
me on Google. So, I mean, I think people overlook that, but you can ask just like you ask for recommendations on LinkedIn after you complete a project or work with a client that was really happy. I think you can also ask for reviews of your business on Google if you have a website. So,
yeah. No,
that's one thing.
What did you build your website on initially?
Well, it's on WordPress, but I had a developer do it for me. He's actually a back-end developer. He
Awesome.
creates some really crazy, complicated websites. Mine is not. I don't sell anything currently, although I'm thinking about like what I should be doing on that front.
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually paid a developer, a designer to do it for me last time, and now I can just update. I update the blog and things, but I'm thinking about the future. Like, do I want to keep it there?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, it's a topic that comes up, in the Copy Co-op Facebook group of just, what can you do besides just client work as a freelancer? And, and I think there's ways to monetize. You guys can do lead magnets and do freebies. My advice is to find a way to build an email list, grow that, and then you can ask questions to your audience about what they need help with. And then that could start stirring up ideas of maybe some products that you could sell, some courses.
Yeah.
Because when I got like, how do I get clients, Terry? I need copywriting clients. I thought, you know what? I got a lot of my work on Upwork. So let me do a really extensive workshop where people can come in and learn my strategy and how to catch red flags and figure out. And, I made a little bit of money doing that. I did charge for it, but it's been really helpful for some people. So it's kind of validated that in that sense.
Yeah.
But, what are some, what's kind of your take on that, or what, any other suggestions there?
As far as what to create,
to create, like maybe to monetize your business in a sense.
I'm thinking about writing a book.
Awesome.
Not to make money necessarily, but I do think it can help you just build your credibility and authority and
That's
thought
true too.
leadership. People have asked me why I haven't done it before. I'm like, frankly, I could probably take my blog posts and publish a book based on those, because I've been blogging for, I don't even know how long now. I'd be embarrassed to look at some of my early blog posts, I'm sure. But yeah, those are some things I'm thinking about. And then I really want to have somebody come on the chat and talk about this, because I think CJ Hayden is somebody I really admire a lot. And she's been there since I began my business and before, I'm sure too. And she wrote an article about it recently too, about how to kind of monetize, especially right now, because people are trying to pivot, trying to figure out how to continue to stay in business. Because a lot of them, like in travel or hospitality industries, have lost a lot of clients, and they're trying to figure out what can we do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Have you ever had Kaylee Moore on Freelance Chat?
She has been on once.
Okay.
I think she was talking on the chat about writing an about paragraph, maybe, or something like that.
Yeah, because I just know that she's starting to do more, from what I've seen, is some of those like personal like sessions, and just having people like writing like your e-commerce descriptions or how to get clients, and kind of having that more exclusive thing. So I think if you just continue to build up your following, I think you can do it. I think just the biggest thing is for me, and I don't know about you, Michelle, is just the imposter syndrome side of it. It's like, will anybody really want this? Am I coming off too sleazy selling this? Like, is it the right time?
That's the thing. I mean, I don't do anything that I do right now. I mean, obviously, I'm sure it helps my visibility, but I mean, I don't get anything out of Freelance Chat. I mean, I don't have sponsors or anything like that. And I'm always worried about those things. Like, do I want to, if I monetize what I do, is that going to turn people off? But there's so many people doing it. I think there are people the thing I don't like is the people that are just throwing up these very, very expensive courses and making a lot of money, and they're not really substantive, so I think that's tough. Now, that I would never do something like that, but that's the kind of thing I worry about, giving the rest of us kind of a bad name. So
yeah, I'm with you. It's just, there's a lot of things where you're like, is this just theory? Is this just people telling me certain things? And there's not a lot of like proven action and steps to it. That's tough because I feel like a lot of times it is just theories and like things that you could find really anywhere. But it's like, how can I do this now? How can I apply what you just told me to do?
Yeah, so if I'm telling people not to buy into that, then if I do something, I think it's really good, So.
Yeah. No, and I think too, I mean, like, you've been really genuine about it, and people get to like see your personality. So I think there's just that trust factor there too.
Yeah.
With, like, creating this content, like giving away things for free in the sense. It's like, I don't get anything from these interviews, and I bring on people to share a lot of good advice and talk and like share some stories. And, and it's just it's just fun for me to hear about that and talk to a bunch of people I meet online. But at the same time, there is some strategy behind it just to like create content and be visible out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that's perfectly okay. As long as it's, everybody's getting something out of it. I mean,
trying to make it valuable. Not saying, hey, come $5 to watch this interview, or like the first 3 minutes are free.
Yeah. I know.
They don't get it.
The first 2 paragraphs of this article are free, but the rest are behind our paywall. So
oh man.
Sorry.
I know. Oh man. I want one last freelance question, because we touched on it a little bit. It's a popular topic about like charging and getting paid.
Yeah.
What are some of your best things that can ensure freelancers, to really get paid and, to fundamentally run their business successfully from a transaction standpoint?
Well, I think you have to be kind of very focused on the paperwork side, the administration side of it, which is not always the fun part. And I'll admit, that's not always my strong suit, but I'm really trying very hard to have a consulting agreement signed with the scope of work attached, and make sure, I had this happen to me, make sure before you sign it, when they send it back to you, that they haven't changed something, because I had a guy do that to me. And if you're not looking for those things, I mean, you would sign it and not be the wiser, right? And that's what they're counting on, which is really shady. But that's a warning. Not everybody would do that, but
right.
Some people try to take advantage. And then also just the payment up front for a half, a third, especially if it's a brand new client, maybe in full if it's a smaller project or smaller amount. I've had clients do that too. So they can't take advantage. And it's really sad, because for many years I didn't have a single problem with that. And then really probably the last, I'd say, few years, I've had, a handful of clients, even one who had been with me like 4 years, who just decided they were going to pay. So it's really sad and unfortunate, but it happens. So be on your guard and get your paperwork in order and get your money. I mean,
it's worth like looking up a contractor, like going and like asking contacts that you have, if they have like a lawyer friend that can review something for you. It's like, is there a clause that can ensure that I get paid? And then like, if there's a little bit of, if the person doesn't contact you back, have that lawyer be like, hi, I'm Terry Schilling's lawyer, and you need to pay this invoice. Even sometimes that like outside voice can scare them enough to be like, oh, all right, fine, let's just pay this and get it over with. But sometimes it's kind of a game. It's like they're trying to call your bluff on it too. I feel like I definitely get that sense.
But I've chased things and actually gotten them to pay. Sometimes there are reasons, like the invoice didn't get forwarded to accounting, or the person left. That happened to me this summer. Like somebody had left in the interim after the project was completed, and so you just had to kind of keep after it and have an accounting contact. That's another thing that somebody said on the chat. That's a really smart idea, because sometimes it's just you and the client. But if you have like a billing or accounting department contact, then you at least have somebody you can ask if the client kind of like, backs out, leaves you hanging or whatever.
I'm with you. And, everybody watching, we're kind of going to wrap up here too. And I feel like a lot of great conversation here. Michelle, I feel like we're wrapping up a lot of like freelance chats that I've been a part of into this 30 plus minutes. But again, if you guys have any specific questions, please let us know. And I just want to touch on too, Michelle, you brought up the good point of just, money up front, and people aren't like, what should I do? Like, what does that look like? And it's really just what it sounds like. You just have to have the confidence to be like, if you get a $400 project, and like you said, it's a new client, just be firm and be like, anything under $750, I collect upfront payment for. Just be stern like that, because if they really want to work with you, they'll be like, all right, that's fine. Let's get this going. And, have that paperwork that they can visibly see that you're going to achieve this work for them, that we have these, deliverables in place, that it's like a professional transaction here, and you'll be set. You don't just send them an email and like just trying to make it seem like you just want to get your money and then you'll deliver something when you can. That happens. I've seen freelancers take that approach.
Yeah. But you're absolutely right. Because I think too, just having that policy, maybe even creating a little list of policies for yourself, like, businesses have policies and procedure manuals, but maybe we as freelancers just need a little list of, every time we, like almost an onboarding list or something of things that we're going to do every single time, and just follow that, because it's really easy to get excited and get in a hurry and I live it all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
I know it's true. And if you're new to freelancing, you're just excited that someone's going to pay you to do work, like, oh, this is so exciting.
I think that's the big rush of it. It's like, oh my God, I'm going to work on a couple $1,000 project for this company. This is so great. It's like, now get over that a little bit and, and get your process in place to really get the work done.
We can help you on Freelance Chat. We talk a lot about that too, because process is my Achilles heel. I mean, it's tough because I'm excited about doing the work, and the rest of it, sometimes I don't focus on as much, but you have to kind of force yourself to do it. So.
Yeah. I always, people who've watched the show have heard me say this. It's like, be enjoyable to work with, for the most part. Care about the relationship you have with that client, because that will show, and then it will just help you get more clients down the road, because, people can see that process that you have in place, and you can share that with future clients. Like, this is how it works working with me, and it could be a key differentiator between you and other freelancers that they're looking at.
It makes you look more professional, and like you have your act together, and so hopefully they understand. But I know freelancers who will not lift a finger without full payment in advance. So I mean, there's a happy medium maybe in there somewhere for everybody. But it's fine to be one of those freelancers.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh man. Well, Michelle, I always wrap up the conversations with this 2-part question. So excited to hear your answer.
Yeah.
First, are you more a pizza or burrito person?
Probably pizza.
Pizza. All right. Awesome. I ask you that because now I want you to build a success pizza.
Oh.
And so then what are the 3 key ingredients to your success pizza? And I'm talking characteristics. Don't say sausage, anchovies, mushrooms. What are the 3 things?
Wow. Well, I mean, to me, consistency is a big one. Consistently commit to doing, if it's posting on social media or blogging or guest posts or newsletters or whatever you're going to do to market yourself, like consistency is important.
Yeah.
I think engagement, like, I don't know if that's really a quality, but to me, it's like, if you're going to be on social media, you should probably engage on social media and not just post about your latest offer, your latest sale, your latest discount, like whatever your course. I mean, sure you
but,
actually be a person on there, and people gravitate toward that, and be genuine, just be genuine. And what else? I don't know. I mean, love what you're doing. I mean, I don't know if that's really
a great one. I'll take that. I'll sprinkle that on top of the pizza.
If you're not loving it, you're not enjoying it, it's going to show, and there are times I think a lot of people are experiencing burnout, and there's just so much going on that we don't all love it every day, all day. But I mean, you should love it enough at the time to feel like, you're in the right place doing the right thing. So
I 100% agree. And even like when you're enjoying the work, even the times where you have a stressful client or a stressful period, like that love of what you do, that bigger picture is going to get you through that time for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Great success pizza. That sounds tasty. Consistency, engagement, and loving what you do. I dig it. That's perfect. That's huge. All right. Michelle, that's all I got for you. Thank you so much. See, this wasn't so bad, right? It's harmless.
No, it was fun. It's fun. I love to talk about freelancing, and it's a pleasure. So thank you for having me, Terry. It was really fun.
Now, before we do part ways, I want you to take the floor. Let everybody know, where they can follow you. We've talked about Freelance Chat, so share how people join that, and the time and dates for that, and anything else that you'd like to promote.
Well, I mean, I do have a website. It's michellegarrett.com. You can sign up for my newsletter. It's free. It's monthly. I do not bombard people that sign up for my email newsletter. That's all they get usually from me once a month. It's exclusive content for those people that subscribe. Twitter, PR is us, is my handle. I'm there a lot. I love to engage. I'm always looking for sources for stories, and sometimes I even ask for ideas, what do you want to hear about? And when I write my next muck rack article. So So that's great. And yeah, and then Freelance Chat is every Thursday at noon Eastern, and we have people from all over the world that join us, and everybody's welcome that works for themselves. So
yeah, excellent. Yeah, guys, join that chat every Thursday. Not this Thursday if you're listening to it during the week of Thanksgiving, because that's
yeah.
when we're recording this. So, but definitely follow back on every Thursday at 12 Eastern time. Michelle, again, thank you so much. This was a pleasure finally getting to talk to you in person like this
Yeah.
outside of the Twitter world. So really enjoyed our conversation today.
Thank you so much, Terry, for having me.
Yeah. And everybody, thank you for tuning in. All the replay watchers, thanks for coming back and watching this. We will see you on the next episode of Proceed with Passion Live. Thanks for joining us today. Bye.